Hi everyone, welcome to yet another recording of the weekly update. Hey, thanks everyone for telling me you liked it. Lots of brownie points there. I'm guessing there are others who don't like it. Luckily you haven't told me that. Anyway, so sorry this is late. I had intended to do it, but it's Thursday and I'm doing it at home. So bear with me if Kyra walks in on me. Okay, so this week what did I do? I started, as some of you might do, writing a report. Now, I guess I was at the place where I was thinking, goodness me, there's so much stuff. How do I bring it together? Am I missing anything? In fact, this is one of my lessons, one of many lessons which I've documented in a blog, which I'll talk to you guys about soon, to try and basically understand where things fit. I used to do this back in my good old consulting days. I won't show you much of that. But that was really useful because that brought home to me that there were certain things about my process which I needed to change. So I've restructured the process somewhat, and I've actually now done away with iterations. Now, a lot of you probably aren't quite aware, but way back in the 1st of April, I kind of proposed this don't laugh at this diagram. I know it looks horrible. But I proposed this particular process. Now, there are three phases. There's a learn phase, a create phase, and an assess phase. There's a whole pile of stuff within that. But I wanted some sort of a basic framework for us to understand how we go about service design. Not too different, of course, from a user-centered design kind of process. Now, the important thing with this is not that, but is actually this idea of iterations. So I really wanted to see if I could force myself to focus by having these short, concise iterations. Well, it turns out they didn't really work, and I realised that last week. I've been trying to force them to work, and it's for a variety of reasons. It just doesn't work. So what I'm going to do now, instead of go through all three of these phases within an iteration, and each iteration is anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Actually, most of them have been 2 weeks, too short, especially with just one person. I've dumped them. I'm going really with this idea of create and assess. For the rest of my time here. And what I'm going to do as well is I've added a couple of extra phases. One is a communicate phase, which is kind of what I'm doing now. But another one is an empower phase, which is actually about having someone to hand the stuff over to, and also having you guys experience service design in terms of its methods, and also having some kind of sense of it. So that's going to be how things are going to flow from now on. That's also why we're going to have this evidencing workshop in Auckland and in Wellington. It's just one method, but we'll see if we can get through some more. I'm keen to get you guys to be able to say you've done some work around service design or use some different design methods. So I want to quickly show you this as well. This is the latest incarnation. Again, it's ugly. It's just me doing this, of our customer journey map. So it's what it is there are a whole pile of kind of events here. The colors represent different touch points. You don't have to look at this too closely, but I've got 4 different phases. There's a discovery phase. So this is from the perspective of our client, a new client, and we've got a scoping phase, we've got an engagement phase, and then we've got a wrapping up phase. And in here there's a pile of kind of commentary. So this gives you a pretty good idea of what this scenario looks like, and it gives you also a sense of what's high and what's low. So most of the high things, again, unsurprisingly, relate to people and our direct interactions with those people. And then what I'm going to do as well is we're going to then break these things down into a service blueprint. So what we'll do is maybe look at the scoping phase and realize there are a whole pile of events there. There's quite a few events below this baseline. So we then go straight into a blueprint phase. Now I've just plain ripped off something we've seen online from Blueprint Plus. I really like the idea of them breaking it down this way. So there's a pile of different actors, and there's a timeline, and then there's an exchange of information, data, as well as different mediums. So this is going to get prettied up by a guy who hasn't been the most responsive, to be honest, but here's an example of kind of how he's starting to mock up that customer journey map. So we will hopefully eventually get to something quite pretty. It's worth saying that this is actually more about having artifacts than necessarily something that's useful to us. Right, I want to keep this under 10 minutes because otherwise I can't upload it to YouTube. what else have we got? Let's see. Okay, blog. I've started uploading. I've been documenting a lot of my thoughts, a lot of my lessons, not in a video in the past few weeks, but in a blog. I've now released this, so to say. There's a whole pile of different comments I've added. So start looking at that if you're supremely bored. There's a whole bunch of different things we can talk through some of these things in future when I do a final kind of debrief. And of course, this is where I'm sticking the updates. Okay, lastly, what have I got? I'm focused on getting more data around the staff experience and the supplier experience as well, particularly in terms of the bearing on the client experience, but intrinsically as well. There's value in examining that. Now, obviously, most of you, in fact, all of you, have spoken to Michelle McCormack in the latest kind of round of HR improvements. So I'm just going to really have a chat to her and kind of understand how that ties into some of the work that I've been doing. If there's anything you particularly want to bring up with me as well in terms of the staff experience, then do free, but realise that there is also the kind of 6 monthly staff survey coming up. Okay, supplier. I'm rushing a lot. I'm sorry. Supplier survey. Oh, you don't want to know about that. Here we go. Okay, I've got a survey here. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to tell the kids to go away. Right, I'm back. I think. The supplier experience. So we are sending out the survey, this WFU form, to a pile of different suppliers. I just want to get a bit of a feel for how we can improve the interactions with them. Just as an experiment as well to see how that pans out and how that impacts on the client experience. Right, I think that's pretty much it. So let me just check my list. Yeah, so next week my goal is to basically prepare for a workshop in Auckland. We've got an evidencing kind of workshop. I'm going to write that report a little bit more, and there's a whole pile of kind of refinements I want to make to the ideas we've had so far. So now if you've got any more suggestions about the ideas, that welcome pack, those cards and the little checklist, do let me know, because as you know, unless I hear from the users, you guys, there's not much I can do. So thanks for listening, and yeah, have a great weekend, I suppose.